You know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
6 minutes ago, Ryan Broniger. No baseball today versus UTSA. Today's midweek game that was scheduled to start at 3 p.m. has been canceled due to inclement weather.
It's been a wet April showers. A lot of them. Yeah, it's supposed to be wet in April, but it's kind of taking it to another level.
Yes, it's been a different level of wetness. There you go. Look at that production value done so quickly. Nick Savage just on the ones and twos, just dominating when it comes to directing. That guy is my guy. He deserves a raise. Anyway, OB, I was kind of looking forward to baseball, but I started thinking this morning. My kids have soccer and tomball, right? Okay. The girls do. I'm like, there's no way they're going to be practice. So if there's no way there's going to be practice, there's probably no way there was going to be a game because typically very wet field / I haven't seen any lightning yet, but I assume that's coming.
Well, I was thinking that today coming to work, and I'm thinking, raining so much. I know Olsen Field drains real well, and that grounds crew does a heck of a job, but sometimes Mother Nature just wins.
Yeah.
And, Mother Nature was dominating.
Yeah, it's I'm ready for it to stop. I'm ready for normal weather.
Yeah, I would like to see the sun again.
Did you get out and get your steps this morning?
No, I didn't get steps, but I did go to the gym and lifted. Today was the push day.
Oh, you've got a program.
Push pull lifts on Monday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Like curls.
Yeah.
Hell, I don't even know what they're called. The lat pulls.
Lat pull downs, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then...
you have a legs day too?
I do a leg exercise at the end.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So
you do a push-pull, and you alternate each day?
Yes. That's the plan.
Who gave you the plan?
Actually, it was a plan I did a long time ago.
Okay.
You know what? The best plan I ever had, and he doesn't even know he gave me this, was from Mike Clark.
Okay.
The old A&M strength and conditioning coach under R.C. Slocum. And what he had done was he had told some of the coaches at Robert E. Lee High School in Tyler, hey, here's a plan I use, because they share stuff. And so I started working out with this when I very first started working out with the coaches of John Taylor and Rick McDaniel, if you remember the guys, if you're listening. And they would say, yeah, this is the plan we use. Yeah. And I'll be dang if it didn't work. I mean, it started out with everybody's loving this, right? But since it's A&M related, because this was Mike Clark's plan, you do like bench press and all those things at like 65%.
Yeah.
And then you do, I can't even remember, it was 10, 3 sets of 10. And then the next week you do like 70%. But by the time you got to the end of the thing, your bench press increased by like 25, 30, 40 pounds.
I'm sure our audience is changing the station, but I'm going to give you a little bit more information on that. That's called progressive overload, OB.
That's what I was doing. I was overloading progressively.
Yeah. Hey, the Moffitt effect, I'll transition to that because we are going to talk a little bit football here in the first segment. Our buddy Brooks Austin is going to be on the show a little bit later. I believe he tweeted, but I know I definitely heard it on his podcast yesterday, how A&M football players look different. He singled out Isaiah Horton. He's like, this guy looks bigger and stronger. And he went through several of the guys. Reuben Owens is another one he talked about.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right. And Let me say this for the 100th time. Your strength and conditioning coach, it makes such a difference when you look at when A&M has had their greatest teams, at least in recent memory, in my memory.
Yep.
Mike Clark was a strength and conditioning coach and all that success with RC. Then Larry Jackson at the beginning of Kevin Sumlin's. And then at first with Jimbo, it was Schmitty.
Yep.
And now Moffitt.
Tommy Moffitt.
It's not a coincidence.
Well, they look different, they feel different, and I still think we need to do a TexAgs workout with Tommy Moffitt. All of us. Every one of us, even Billy.
Billy is a strong guy.
Very strong guy, yeah.
I would rather see Billy. I'd rather see an obstacle course. You know, did you ever see the movie Officer and Gentleman?
Of course.
Who didn't?
Richard Gere.
Yeah, and running that obstacle course at the
Louis
end.
Gossett Jr.
You know, come on, Mayo. I would love to see that.
I'm in.
Oh, I know you are.
Listen, so I want to do this segment. I want to do perceived strength for 2026 versus unknown. I'm not calling anything a weakness yet. We're not going to weakness.
Okay.
We're going to go unknown.
All right.
And I've written down some ideas, but but please, feel free to tell me some things. Perceived strength, athlete and playmakers at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver spot is still the team strength. It might be the best. And I want to add tight ends in there. It may be the best position group on the team.
Yep. And here's the thing. You lose a generational talent like Casey Concepcion.
Possible first-round pick on Thursday.
And I'm not ready to say you're taking a step back. I'm saying it's just going to be a different, really good wide receiver room. You see what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to replicate what KC did. You're going to be able to replicate it differently.
You know, if it's a step back, it's one step back.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be.
You got a 97 on the test, not 100.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I think they're going to be really good at receiver again. I mean, 3/4 of the main receiving core is back anyway.
Right.
And those guys were pretty productive, especially Mario, who made at least one All-American team. I think he was third team All-SEC too. And so then you add the big receiver, who great hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be receiver group is going to be the primary team strength, in my opinion.
All right. Perceived strength to me, and I'm going to explain it a little bit, the run game. And here's my why. I'm not ready to go strength like wide receiver strength, but this team is basically the same running back room as last year. They tailed off at the end, okay? But Ruben Owens was really good for this team. Morrow looks even better than he did just a few months ago, okay? So I say it's a strength. How much of a strength? I'm not willing. Your face is telling me you don't agree.
No, well, here's the thing with running game. If you said running backs, I'd say, yeah, maybe I'm, because of Le'Veon missed half the year.
There's a quarterback who's involved in
but
this,
if I
right?
said running backs, or even quarterback, okay. But a great part of that running game is dependent on what?
The passing game?
No, the offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm not ready to go there yet, because I'm not ready to say that's actually going to be on my questions,
right?
Okay, on my unknowns. But yes, well said, OB. But let me rephrase it. Running backs,
yes,
I think they are a strength. How much of a strength, I don't know.
I agree. I agree with that.
Because I agree with you on the O-line. That is still an unknown for me. So, all right, we're going to continue going. My computer locked up. Please? Thank you. Here's the other one. Strength. The DBs.
Yeah, I at least on paper, the DBs are the secondary is the strength of the defense, at least on paper.
Right.
With Brooks coming back and Ratcliffe and Des Ricks, and quite frankly, I'm having one senior moment. Kid, I already said Ratcliffe. The kid the nickel who transferred from Washington, who played a lot at the end of Jordan Shaw. So there's 3 starters and a fourth guy that started about half the year on a pass defense who's like number 3 in the SEC, 3 or 4. So, and then you say I haven't seen Ricky Gibson. People say, and I'll believe, I'll take them at their word that this guy is going to be as maybe as good as Will Lee. So I do think the secondary is a team strength.
Well, and when you got a freshman that could start on a lot of SEC teams in Brandon Arrington, I mean, depth, veteran leadership, proven production, like I think that room is great. I don't have any more for sure strengths, OB. Do you have any you want to add that I may be missing? Because there's a lot of position groups I'm going to go unknown on.
Well, I'll say this. I feel really good about the defensive interior line, the tackles.
Okay.
DJ Hicks, DJ and CJ.
Yeah.
There's got to be some other. In fact, the line as a run defense, I feel pretty good about. DJ, CJ, and TJ.
Yeah.
So I think the defense then Landon Rink, and I heard the kid from Belleville, Sanders name mentioned a lot last week. So I feel really good about the defensive tackle position.
So for defensive line, my unknown, in a moment I want to assign some a value, and I don't even know how we're going to assign a value, but I feel good but unknown about the defensive line because it is different. Now, I agree with you. Interior-wise, I think we're good. I think Saka is going to be fantastic. Like that, we've heard a lot about the kid from San Diego State, Ryan Henderson, right? So we've heard some good things, but it's unknown just because I haven't seen it put together. Okay, but so I feel really good about that. Now, I'm going to tell you an unknown for me now is linebacker.
Well, yeah.
Because that would have been a strength, I thought, heading into the season. Okay?
It could have been. Definitely could have been.
If we did this show a couple days before the spring game, I would have probably had it on my strengths.
Yeah.
Okay? But we're not doing the show.
You can't lose your best linebacker, and that means you lost your best three linebackers from last year and say, oh, yeah, everything's great.
Yep.
Okay. Now, do I feel pretty good about what I've seen from Noah McHale? Yeah. And Ray Coney, is he going to be at A&M what he was at Tulsa?
I hope.
It's a step up in competition, but he's very athletic. And I keep hearing how Jordan Lockhart has gotten better. There's some young guys with potential, but so at the end of the year, maybe we'll be looking at it, and maybe Sanford will be able to play at some point. But going into it, you have to say if you're objective at all that it's an area of uncertainty.
Yeah, it's so I have it as an unknown for me. I'm going to also say tight end. I know you lumped them in with the wide receivers earlier. Unknown because, look, I believe Houston Thomas is going to make some plays. I do believe that vertically the tight end group they'll be better. I hope.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
Last year, how would you have rated the tight ends in this schedule? I mean, and I'm talking about at the end of the year.
I wouldn't have said it was a strength.
At the end of the year.
I wouldn't have said it was a strength.
Right.
No, I would have said Nate Borkacher was a strength.
Okay. I think they're better.
I think they're better too, but it's an unknown because Borkacher's gone. I hope Richie Anderson becomes that. I hope that Houston Thomas becomes what we thought Theo was going to become. I hope.
Yeah. The question is, can they block?
Yeah.
I think as far as being in the passing game, they're going to be better.
Yep.
And I know Borkacher. Look, I love the guy. I always will because that fourth down catch against Notre Dame and a couple others.
Yeah.
But I think they got guys that are, as receivers and do something with the ball, are better than that.
Here's one that I put as an unknown, but I feel pretty damn good it's going to be better.
Okay.
Kicking game.
Yeah. Look, I'm telling you that right now. They're better.
I don't know if it's a strength, but it feels like it's going to be a strength. If the spring game means anything at that position, it feels like it could be a strength. I'm just not, until we see it in the games, it's not a strength. It's a strength?
It's a strength.
It's a strength.
Especially when you compare it to last year.
Okay, but when we talk about strength, to me, sometimes it depends how you look at strength, right? Strength, is it a top-tier SEC unit? That's the part that's unknown for me.
Yeah, okay, that's
It's going to be better than last year. Is it a strength? Like when we look at SEC numbers, like A&M's kick game, automatic. I just yelled.
I think so. I didn't see any bad snaps. I didn't see any bad holds. I saw a lot of good kicks.
So I need smarter people than myself to help me assign values to this, all right? So, like, do you think for strength, if we did 1 through 10, 10 being the best, and 1 through 10 on the unknowns, 1 being the worst. Okay, so we just do it that value. Let's kind of go through it. Strength of the playmakers at wide receiver, I'm going 10.
I'll say 9.
Okay.
9.
Run game.
Run game, I'm going to say 5 or 6, yeah.
Okay. DBs, 7.5.
Yeah, that's fair. 7 to 8, yeah.
Oh, I don't think we talked about that. We alluded to it. The unknown of the offensive line.
Yeah, well, that's obvious, yeah. So
4?
No, I'm not going to go that bad. I'm going to say 5 to 6.
5 to 6, okay. Linebacker on the unknown category.
I'll give it now
5 to 6?
5.
Okay. Tight end.
8 for
Okay.
me. 8 for me.
I think I'm tight end. I'm going to go 7.
Okay.
Okay. Defensive line. I'm going to go 7.5, 8 there. I feel good about it. I feel good about my unknown.
Here's what I wish you would do. I wish you would say
We can do whatever we want, buddy. You can do it.
defensive line.
Okay. Edge.
Okay. Pass rush.
Pass rush.
Pass rush, I'm going to say 5. I don't know.
Okay.
Especially they had 43 last year, so you got a lot to live up to.
I'm going to say 6.5 there.
Okay. Now, if you want to say, like I'm saying, your interior line and run defense from the line, I'm going to say 8.
I'll say 7.5.
Okay.
We're pretty close.
Yeah.
Kicking game. 8.
8.
Coaching. Strength. 10.
Well,
That's how I feel about him right now. It's the offseason. I'm allowed to. You think he's listening?
Well, you say coaching, is it just Elko or is it everybody?
Well, everybody. They're all 10s right now. How about this? I do believe in this staff. Look, I want to see Holman Wiggins play out. I mean, there's a lot of people I want to see how it plays out, right? But I do feel very high about the CEO.
Yeah. I don't have an issue with that. But here's what I got to do. Here's why I have to. I call it the way I see it. Here's why I have to call it a 9 or an 8.5 or even an 8.
Okay.
Because what they've done is remarkable in 2 years. And you do have to take into account the change in coordinators, but here's the deal. The finishes the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I can't ignore that. We had the kind of a November collapse 2 years ago, and last year they needed the greatest comeback.
Collapse.
They needed the greatest comeback in school history to avoid a November collapse.
Yep.
Now they got that comeback and then almost blew it. Now the guy that called the play that almost blew it is the head coach of Kansas State, and we hope that he has a great success because I like the guy.
Yeah.
But they were down 30-3 in the first half, got the lead 31-30, and then came up with the most cockamamie play. And maybe it was, you can say, well, it was the guy who snapped the ball to messed it up because he did something he wasn't supposed to. Then why do you put a true freshman in that
position?
So that's all. I still want this coach set to be my coach.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, what? It's like Don Meredith. You remember him? He was the Dallas Cowboys. One time he was talking about Tom Landry, right? And he said he's such a perfectionist. You got to understand the time. If he was married, he's talking about Landry. He's such a perfectionist that if he was married to Raquel Welch,
who was
a hot actress back in the day, he would expect her to cook. All right. So what I'm saying is, I want him to cook.
Yeah, you want him to cook. Yeah, I get it. Hey, we're 19 minutes in. We haven't told the people the show they're watching.
TexAgs Live.
Presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in
the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Jason, Jackson, and
Keith, and Morgan, and the boys and girls and family.
Yeah, and the family. And this hour, we call it the Go Hour, presented by who?
The Warehouse of CC Creations.
Currently, we are just chilling in a great area.
Yeah, the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
It travels, but we're here in the cool zone right now.
That's right.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is to call us on the
Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
979-693-1150. But you can text that number as well. We switched the name in that case.
Yeah, in that case, if you're texting, it's the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line.
We go around the room. We go left to right. We say hi to the people. 20 minutes into it, The people of Bryan Broadcasting are rioting. Nick Savage, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
I'm good. It's a shame that the game got canceled tonight, but it was going to be a tough test for A&M. UTSA 41st in the RPI, according to Warren Nolan. So they're a good ball club. They went 3-0 in a tournament earlier this year. They beat Ohio State, who's 500 on the year, so not the biggest, feather in the cap. But they did beat, at the time, number 10 Coastal Carolina, and as well as Baylor. So it would have been a tough test. Shame that we didn't see some of the younger arms, that we usually get to see on these midweeks. But again, it's a good time for the team to rest up because you got another big series and another big road test coming up this weekend.
Exactly right. Let's now go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin Paez is there. Justin, talk to us, buddy.
Hi, how's it going, y'all?
Going well, buddy. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. I mean, this weekend was a good weekend. I got to go to the spring game as a fan. I got to find the first row spot. It was good to see all the former players walking by. Saw Kay while everybody was working, Callie. So it was a good time, even though the news of Damian Sanford, that was a pretty sad thing and kind of sucked the energy out of the stadium. But prayers to him and his family. But on good news, in women's basketball, got to cover a lot this year. Nyseer Pryor was the big name that had a great season. She didn't get drafted last week during the WNBA draft, but she was signed to the New York Liberty later in the week on a rookie deal. Training camp has already begun, and the season starts in just 2.5 weeks.
Good for them.
Okay, well, good for her for having a chance. Hopefully she'll make the team.
Just we're going to check in with you here momentarily because we went so long that we need to catch up. You're going to help us out with our performance of the week. OB,
yeah.
When people perform well, they should eat well. When they don't perform well, you don't starve them. You let them eat, right?
Well, yeah, but you know what? If they don't eat well, they don't perform well, maybe they should be denied the opportunity to dine at $17.75. No, you're too nice.
Yeah, well, it depends.
Yeah.
Haters, no. Nice people, yes. I take care of the nice people. Like people like Nick and Kay, they can all go to $17.75.
$17.75 for the succulent brisket or the amazing pork ribs or that jalapeno cheese sausage that I like to eat so much. And then there's queso mac and cheese.
If I could marry a food, it would be the queso mac and cheese.
It's that good.
I mean, it is. It's weird to say it out loud, like I'm embarrassed by it. But the truth is, I love what I love, and you do too.
I do love the macaroni and cheese. I'm more of it's so good to me. To you, I get what you're saying is the when you're eating, it's like a wholesomeness, it's like With me, it's like a tawdry affair. I just wanna just attack it. Just eat it all up.
Tell me more.
Just want to eat it all up.
Okay. The website is 1775txbbq.com. You can call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
And it's so good, you just want to eat it all up. Eat it all up.
Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. So did anybody hear what I
Rush?
said? Huh?
Is that Rush?
It's Rush.
It's a pass rush.
It's a pass rush. You were going to say something about the
Well,
tight ends?
we were talking about tight ends, and I was showing Justin that Jay Sternberger catch against South Carolina where he catches like 20 yards downfield and he gets hit and he just drags the guy and then another guy another 30 yards inside the 10. And I was saying, I believe, I got to be careful the way I say this, I believe more than ever since then, you got tight ends who are Sternberger-ish. All right. Now, I know Weidemeyer was really good the next year and in the next 2 years, but I think Houston Thomas and Richie Anderson are the type of guys that can make that catch and then do something with it.
Yeah.
More than maybe we've seen from a lot of tight ends.
Let's do the Knockout Performer of the Week, brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used heavy equipment. OB, I'm going to let you take the first one.
All right. Well, how about I was really impressed with Charean Wilson.
I knew it. Have you seen what my rundown has as number one on the list?
I did.
Charean Wilson. I know how you operate.
You know, not only does he have 2 home runs in that first game, and they were amazing, and then he had a big, I think it was a 2-run single. It might have been 1 run, but a big single in the second game.
Yeah.
Kind of got everything going. And then, of course, the broadcasters were all excited because he caught that base hit into
And
right
fired
field
it
and
into
caught
Boston.
it with his bare hand and on the fly all the way back, all the way to second base. So nobody was challenging him. So I thought he was great. And you know what? It really is amazing. I know sometimes he strikes out, but it's imposing to have a guy like that batting 7th in your order.
Right. I also think that Chris Hakopian needs to be on the list, right? Took the ball to the face, delivered an RBI double in Game 2, hit the home run in Game 3, 4 of 11 for the weekend, starting to heat up. He had a very nice weekend. I'm going to throw in Gavin Grahovic because he's just a stud.
How do you not?
6 of 16. What is that? A 375 batting average?
375,
Yeah. And how about Gavin Lyons? High leverage situations, they put him in there. He gets the job done.
Aiden Smith.
Aiden Smith as well.
Yeah. Even Shane Sadeo. I mean, Sims.
What'd you say?
I said Smith.
Oh.
There's an Aiden Smith out there. You know, I'm getting more and more like Robert Cessna every day.
Yeah.
Where I get my, you know, I'll think of one name. Who is Aiden Smith? And he might play for another opponent. Anyway, Aiden Sims. But I mean, he pitched really well. Cedeno, I thought, pitched well. So
they're giving you what you need.
How about for that matter? How about give the pitching coach some
J.K.
respect. Give him
Jason Kelly.
I know he was criticized before, and now the pitching staff is really
they're doing good.
For the last several weeks have really been really good. So,
and I'll put Michael Early on that list as well.
Early.
Let's put Trisha Ford on the list. Justin Paez has got more on the TKO knockout performer of the week. Who else?
Yeah, I was going to start with Paisley Allen. She bats 8th in the lineup, but had a weekend of 5 of 7, 4 RBIs, 3 runs. She was 3 of 3 on Sunday in that big 10-run win. And of course, Maya Perez deserves a lot of credit with the grand slam you mentioned. 49 straight games on base. And yeah, you get punched in the mouth early in that game, down 6, and then you back it up with a grand slam to tie it in a 9-inning second inning. So great stuff from the softball team, especially pitching as well.
Who calls the softball games on the radio?
Matt Simon does most of them, I believe.
Has he got the catchphrase yet? Like when she hits a home run, to go, "Oh, Maya!"
Well, he's probably listening right now.
And
He'll probably text the show.
Every time she hits a home run, you go, "Oh, Maya, that's out of here."
I think he's going to start using. In fact, he'll
Wouldn't
try
you?
to get. Yeah, of course I would.
Oh, Maya.
Yeah. We should, Matt, if you're listening, text the show. Let us know if you're going to use that or if you've already used it. What else?
I was going to dive into some tennis, some shout-outs. They had the SEC tournaments for both women's and men's this past weekend. Both teams did fall short in the semifinals, but 2 names deserve a lot of credit as they made all SEC tournament teams. Luciana Perez, who was undefeated this season in singles, and then Colo Monsi for the men had 3 singles wins in the tournament as well.
Good stuff there. Appreciate that. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Charean the Dream.
Charean Williams.
All right, right now we're talking about local values, and that's Rollo Insurance. They're local. They have values. They're a group that shares our community values, independent agency that works for you, not the shareholders. Join their team and their consultation, which is going to be all across insurance lines available in Texas and beyond, and join thousands of Aggies who trust Rollo Insurance with protecting what matters most, and that's your home, that's your business, whatever it may be. So when local matters hit home, like severe weather or regional economic shifts, Rollo agents understand firsthand the impact because they live here as well. Their independence means they can recommend solutions from dozens of carriers based on what's best for you, not what's profitable for them. And that's what so many local families and businesses make Rollo their first call. The difference is real. 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but their headquarters is on Highway 6. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. Activities all around the world going on with muster today.
Yeah.
I know the weather here is raining quite a bit, but the Association of Former Students puts on a lot of fantastic events, and I know the Brazos Valley A&M Club does as well. So a lot of great stuff going on around the world to honor those Aggies.
Maybe the greatest tradition at Texas
Yeah.
A&M. I know the Citadel has adopted something similar because Luke's dad, Mark, who went to the Citadel, was telling me about that. I guess they saw it from what A&M did. Say, hey, that's a
We're
great
going to do
idea.
that too.
And so I think from what I understand, the Citadel does it now.
This is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We go to the Buppies Catering and
Bartending
Hotline. That's where we find Charean Williams of Pro Football Talk, the Aggie great, the Hall of Famer, and our dear friend Charean. Good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
Well, I think we've had a couple great weekends in a row. Aggie baseball, Aggie softball, like really, really great weekends. And I know you keep up with the Diamond Sports. How was it for you?
It was awesome. And I was on the edge of my seat watching the women's golf team play Texas yesterday and beat them. Unfortunately, they couldn't beat Tennessee. I thought they were going to do that. But it's been a fun couple weeks watching the Aggies win a lot of stuff. So and then some of the recruits that we've gotten in football and basketball have been fun too. And I texted my friend Marla Thomas yesterday, and I said, it's a great day to be an Aggie. And it just felt like that for a couple weeks. So hopefully we can keep this good vibe going for a while.
Any thoughts on what you saw or didn't see in the spring game because of your football mind and expert eye?
Well, I did not see any of it, Olin. So you're going to tell me what I missed. I read about it.
I thought you might have watched it on TV or something.
I think the injury was probably the biggest thing that, you never want to see injuries. I guess the fortunate thing is when it happened and the potential possibly, depending on how bad it is, to, have a few months to recover from that. But that was probably the thing that stood out to me from what I read. You just don't want to see injuries, especially from one of your best defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
Charean, is it me, or does it feel like the NFL draft this week is a little bit like, obviously it's always a huge deal, but is it still the same kind of buzz? Because I guess we know Fernando's probably going number one. Like, do you still feel the buzz for the first round coming up?
I think maybe we will a little more tomorrow, but it's a down year, honestly, for the NFL, for the guys coming in. Everyone, draft experts tell you that it's not a real great draft. There's certain positions, as there always are, that are really good. Center is one of those positions, but I think with the quarterbacks especially, we have potentially only one quarterback going in the first round. I think the Cardinals will end up with Ty Simpson at some point, whether that's late in the first round or in the second round. But I think that's the biggest thing and why there's not that buzz, because there's one quarterback who's really good in this draft, and he's going number one overall. We know that. And then after that, there's not quarterbacks there that you have to wait on. Again, Ty Simpson could go in the first round, but I do think he ends up with the Cardinals, whether that's late in the first round or sometime in the second round.
So, Charean, from all you've heard and all you think, actually, I got two questions. So, number one, do you have any kind of prediction on where KC, Cassius, and Chase, all those guys might land? And then my second question to you is, look, the last time that I can remember, the Cowboys had 2 first-round picks. They wasted them on Felix Jones and an obscure cornerback from South Florida named Mike Jenkins, I think it was. Is there any reason for me to think it'll be any different?
The first part of the question is, I tell you who's really risen on draft boards, and that's Chase Basantis. And I think he's going in the first round. I think he's going to go late in the first round, maybe New England, maybe probably not Seattle, but I think Seattle wants to trade out. But, somewhere in that late first round, I think he's going. I think A&M is going to have 2 first-round draft picks. I think it's going to be KC. I think he'll go fairly late after probably 20, which is going to be good because he's going to end up with a good quarterback. He could go to Kansas City. and play with Patrick Mahomes.
KC and KC, of course.
Yeah, right, exactly. Built in there, KC to KC. And then, the Patriots, he could go there and play with Drake May. They had a great year last year. There's a lot of possibilities down there for him. But I do think he is a lock to be a first-round draft pick. I'm going to be shocked if he's not. And like I said, Chase, I think, will end up a first-round draft pick. If not, he's going to go early in the second round. And then I think Cassius falls out of the first round. It only takes one team, so there's a possibility still, but I think he's going to be a second-round pick. And it's hard to project based on what teams get on the first day is going to dictate more what they get on the second day. But whoever gets Cassius out, they're going to get a good edge rusher. I can tell you that. And then the Cowboys have 12 and 20 right now. There's a lot of buzz that they're going to try to move up. I don't think they should move up. I don't think they will move up. I think it's too rich for what they want to do in this draft. They'd probably have to give up the 20th pick. I don't think they want to do that. If David Bailey, I think he has a real chance to go 2 overall. It's going to either be Reese or David Bailey to the Jets at 2. But if Bailey starts to fall, maybe they make a move to try to go up and get him. But I don't see that happening. I think they sit at 12 and take the best defensive player that's on the board. And there's a real chance, Olin, at 20 that they could draft an offensive player. They could get a wide receiver. They've done a lot of work on Cooper. They've also done a lot of work on the Arizona State receiver who probably will go early. And there's a chance they would take him at 12 if all the defensive players are gone at 12. But I hope they end up, and they should end up, with 2 defensive players out of this draft. If they're going to trade, I hope they trade down from 20 and end up with more picks rather than try to trade up and end up with, potentially 1 really good defensive player as opposed to 2 defensive starters. Because I think you get 2 real good defensive starters out of this draft, and they need to. And, Jamad McCoy from Tennessee, I don't know if everybody has seen this, but he potentially is going to need another knee surgery. It's going to hurt his draft stock. A lot of people had him going to the Cowboys at 20. He's probably not going in the first round. He's probably going to be like Will Johnson falling out last year with the concerns about the knee and the long-term results of the knee. And Will Johnson went in the second round to Arizona. So I think McCoy, cornerback from Tennessee, is probably going to fall into the second round as well. So he's probably not going to be an option there for the Cowboys at 20.
Charean, I don't know if you've tabulated a number, but how many Aggies are going to get drafted, do you think? 9, 10? Are we going to get to double digits?
Under at 9. I'll set the over/under at 9, and I might even take the over on that. I might get to 10 on that. And then there's going to be some guys who are going to be priority free agents who are going to get opportunity and may have a better opportunity because they get to pick their team than some of the guys drafted late.
Should the Cowboys take Le'Veon Moss?
They could. They need a backup running back with what Jaden Blue and Phil Mafafa did last season, which was not very much. They could use a running back like that. So sure, I think he might be a possibility for them in the mid rounds.
Hey, Charean, let's close out with some good news. It looks like Nnamdi Madubuike suffered that season-ending injury last year with the car accident, but you're hearing some good news when it comes to him.
Yeah, he had a neck injury early in the season, and it looked like it could be career-ending. And there is good news. He had surgery, and there is a real chance that he's going to get a chance to come back and play. At what point, that hasn't been said yet, what the prognosis is, but it does sound like that he will get to resume his career. We all know how good he was, one of the best defensive tackles in football before he had the neck injury last season. So prayers and thoughts to Nnamdi. Went by Justin when he was at A&M at Abike, and let's get a full recovery and get him back on the field.
Not a car accident. It happened in week 2. I misspoke. But yes, that's good news for the Ravens, too. They can kind of switch up what they do draft strategy-wise. Charean, great work as always. Enjoy the draft, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Charean Williams there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate her time here on the program. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll hear some texts, and we'll break some people misunderstood the way we were rating. So I want to make sure we, because our rating was based on strength and unknown, not what we are rating the position group overall. So we'll kind of explain that on the other side. I just basically did. Heritage Films, they're preserving family stories that would otherwise be lost forever. I have a good friend that runs the company. His name is Chance McClain. He isn't just making documentaries. He's capturing people's journeys, their story, their family business story, their family struggles, you name it, the family's entire legacy in a professional cinematic film, 2 hours long. It's a documentary that you and your family can watch together and you're going to love. This is like HBO, Netflix quality stuff. I think you and your family will certainly cherish this together. Yeah, and chances he travels the nation. He travels everywhere. He travels the world, to be honest with you, and tells people stories that are for the future generations. You'll regret if you don't capture these stories now because you are not promised tomorrow. Call Chance up at 713-893-8341. That is 713-893-8341, or visit yourheritagefilm.com. This isn't just a service. It's a time machine for your family's most precious memories. It is Heritage Films. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas Maroon and Gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, "Yeah, Dad, you look pretty good today." From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. When I think of this song, I think of Olin Buchanan hitting the club in the mid-'90s.
What is this song?
Little Junior Mafia, little Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace. What?
Okay, never heard it.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. What were you going to say?
Papa.
Yeah, Biggie.
Yeah, that song. Anyway.
Okay, this got awkward again.
Yeah, I got text.
You got text for us at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Multiple text.
Okay.
And I'll start with some national championship kind of news. With today at 3 p.m., Kay Nagley posted on TexAgs that the Aggie volleyball team will be traveling to the White House today to get recognition for their national championship. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I wish we got a little bit more of a warning because I would have loved to have sent Kay to go hang out with. I've done it before. The White House experience is incredible.
Are they going to Troop afterwards?
No.
White House Troop. That's some towns in East Texas.
Oh, sorry.
Then I'm down to Arp. That's where Pat Mahomes is from.
That's right. That is right. So I know somebody had texted in the show about that. So props to Jamie Morrison. That national championship keeps on giving.
They deserve all the recognition.
Yeah, and I hope they enjoy it. What else?
When y'all were talking about ratings in the first segment of your confidence levels and uncertainties, they had a comment saying, Olin, if the RB room is only a 5 or 6, then this team won't be a playoff team. Change my mind.
So I understand how that could be confusing.
Yeah.
What we were trying to say is a rating based on it being a strength right now or an unknown right now.
And I was talking about the running game.
Right.
Not so much the running backs. I even said if we're talking about running backs, I think they're potentially a strength. But if we're talking about the running games, you have to factor in the offensive line. And there's so many questions there that I'm saying the running game is a 5.5 to a 6.
Yeah, look, there are unknowns with this football team.
I like Ruben and Morrow.
Yeah, there are unknowns just because there's new personnel.
Yeah.
I expect them to be coached up because that's what they've done the last 2 years.
And so I just mentioned Troop. Well, Trooper Taylor, he's got a track record of bringing along really good running backs. But you still, I don't care how good you are, you got to have guys block for you.
Billy and I talked about this the other day, OB, but I think that Coach Elko has exceeded expectations in both of his years at A&M. And what I mean by that is year one, not that we were blown away by 8-5, okay? But I think a lot of people looked at that team and they just weren't sure how much of a step forward they would take. And yes, ultimately you are what your record is, but the fact that they were a win away from the SEC championship game, I think exceeded expectations. Last year, winning 11 games, getting in the playoffs, and also being a win away from the SEC championship. I think they've exceeded expectations in both years.
I think so, but now the expectations are growing.
Yep, you're exactly right. There's another text to get into.
Yeah. Marshall, class 92, said, good morning, David and Olin. I'm on the road today. Haven't been able to listen in some time, but enjoying catching up on all things Texas A&M. Appreciate you for the work you do.
We appreciate you listening, Marshall.
Well, I love nice people.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Marshall, we appreciate you. Thank you very much, buddy. OB, that's going to do it for the Cow Hour.
It's done.
So the rest of the show, we're not dropping off, okay?
Yeah.
Chris Lowe coming up next.
Former coworker.
Yeah, we've got, who do we got at, Scott Livingstone at 9:35. We've got Andrew Monaco in studio at 10 a.m.
Film guy?
Yeah, and the film guy.
Okay.
Yeah, what a show, right?
It's a great show.
Right? So, we've got all that. And Peacock, we're going to have a segment with Peacock and their philanthropy. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with more. It is TexAgs Live. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Chris Lowe, a friend of the show, joining us from On3. I think this might be his first time on the show since he's been a member of On3. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's good to be with you guys.
Thank you so much. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about A&M, obviously. I know you spent some time with Coach Elko, but have you heard anything? Do you expect anything to come out of this new motion that like Learfield and Playfly and the associated entities? I know that your colleague was reporting on it yesterday, Pete Nakos, that those kind of deals might be exempt from the College Sports Clearinghouse.
Well, and that's the hope among all these schools that have, big deals, big multi, right deals with these companies. Because then think about some of the budgets you're seeing now and what the rosters teams are building, $40 and $50 million rosters in football. If that becomes exempt, then who knows where we get to? Now, the NCAA will fight that like crazy, but I would not listen. And all these matters, and here's what it gets down to at the end of the day, is what legally will stand up and what won't. And just like the executive order from President Trump, some of those things you look at and you say, well, that makes sense. I think that would eliminate some of the chaos in college sports. But legally, I think very little of that would stand up in court or would stand up in court. Now, this latest with multi-rights, holders, like you said, Learfield, that are partnering with these schools. In a perfect world, these schools that have, big dollar deals with these companies, the Learfield per se, that would open up all sorts of money to be able to pay that's not scrutinized, by the College Sports Commission. So we'll see where that all plays out. Listen, everybody in college sports right now is trying to find a way to generate more revenue because the arms race is such. You remember when the arms race used to be who can build the biggest practice facilities, the biggest locker rooms, who could add, and I think this is still the case a little bit because it produces revenue, but who could add the most suites in the stadium or the basketball arena. Now it's who can raise enough money to build $40 and $50 million rosters. I was with Kyle Whittingham in Michigan last week. He said he has no doubt that by next year, the 27 season, there'll be at least 10 teams that'll be over $50 million as far as their roster.
Okay, Chris, let me ask you this. So we're talking from a legal standpoint, but when we're talking about what the future looks like, I mean, do you see a world where this is just going to continue being the trend, or there will be guardrails that are officially placed and it actually legally passes the litmus test?
Yeah, I don't – guardrails, everybody uses that word, and I don't know, man, because, again, it gets back to – is college sports going to get an exemption, an antitrust exemption? I don't think they will. So if they don't, does the college athletics say, okay, let's go to a collective bargaining model, some model where then you have the players have representation and you negotiate like you do in the NFL what the cap is and real contracts, and then you become employees. I know a lot of people don't want that. Here's what I don't know. If this thing keeps going, we get to 60 and 70 and $80 million rosters. People that make a lot of money typically don't give that money away unless there's a return. So if you're given that kind of cash or generating that kind of cash, now, again, if you're able to do it through your rights holder, that's maybe a different story. But, there's a lot of wealthy people connected with a lot of these college teams across the country. They're in the state of Texas, obviously, Oregon, Miami, Ohio State, a lot of school. Texas Tech, obviously, is one that's just, come out of the woodwork. But if you're not winning at a high level and you're donating and someone's donating $5 and $10 million a year, how much longer are you going to continue to do that? That's what I don't know. People say, well, if you look in your crystal ball, and you hear the word sustainable a lot. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I just know in my time of being around, people that are wealthy and people who've made a lot of money, when they invest that money, they want a return. In this case, they want to see their football team win a lot of games and win championships.
Talking to Chris Lowe here on TexAgs Live. I know that you spent some time with Coach Elko recently. What are some major takeaways that you had being around him and just the program itself?
Yeah, he likes the mix of the guys they brought in the portal with what they're doing in the high school ranks. And that's something he said was never going to change. They're always going to try to build their foundation, certainly there in that state with high school kids, and go out and find guys that want to come to Texas A&M from different states, but also be aggressive in the portal, and they've got the cash to go out and beat teams for proven players in the portal. And I think when you watch them play, I had a chance to watch them practice when I was there. There are some guys, and I think there will need to be some guys. I think the other thing is quarterback is such a more than ever. I think it's the most important position in sports, really. And how can that guy continue to develop? And in Marcel Reed, and these are Mike's words, not mine, he's continued to develop, and now he's going to have a different play caller this year, but he's been at the same program. And when you look at teams that are winning championships or making deep runs in the playoff, almost invariably they're with quarterbacks who have had experience, who played, not always with the same team. Mendoza, was at Cal before he went to Indiana, go all the way back to Joe Burrow at LSU. He started at Ohio State, came to LSU. But these guys, you're back to Warren at Ohio State. But these guys have been around and played. And Marcel now, and what would be, I guess, essentially he started some 2 years ago, but certainly his second full season as a starter. How much better is he? How much more polished is he? And I think what they've seen so far, they're optimistic that he's a guy that has all the tools. He checks all the boxes. You talk to guys around him on that team, offense and defense. They got a lot of faith, a lot of confidence in him. So I think that's what takes A&M from being just a playoff team to a team that can do damage in the playoff. If he plays more consistently against the better teams, because he had his moments last year where he was as good as anybody. Didn't play as well those last couple of games, and I think having a year of experience, being in that system, just getting older and having seen some of the things he saw late last year, I think he's got a chance. So when you start asking me about quarterbacks who make the biggest leap, I think to me he's in that group of 3, 4, 5 guys that you would point to.
Chris, I'm going to a little bit more on Marcel. What I've said on this show, and I think you're basically saying the same thing, he just needs to raise his floor, right? We know his great games, Notre Dame, South Carolina come back, right? But the floor, his rough stretches, his rough halves, that's what I think needs to be raised. I think when he's on, he's fantastic because he can beat you with his legs, and obviously he's got the playmakers around him.
Yeah, they need to play better around him too in those spots. You go back to the end of the season last year. It's never just the quarterback, and they're going to look completely different, or almost completely different in the offensive line. But now they like the guys that they're adding to the mix, But sometimes offensive line play is certainly it's all about continuity and playing beside the guy you're used to playing against, and getting that right chemistry. So yeah, they need to protect him. They need to run the football, and I always say. The quarterback typically, unless you're just extraordinary, you're only as good as the people around you and how consistently they play. Do they make plays for you? But I think when you look at some of the receivers, you lose a Concepcion who was terrific, but they feel good about the guys around him and some of the strides they've made. But yeah, I think you're right. Just continue to raise the floor and just be more consistent and know, coaches love quarterbacks that they know every game exactly what they're going to get out of them. That doesn't mean they'll ever make mistakes, but they know whether it's, an FCS team or whether it's the best team on your schedule or whether it's a playoff game, you know exactly what you're going to get. And I think Marcel is much more equipped to be that kind of quarterback this year for the Aggies. And they're going to need him to be, again, because I think it's no coincidence as I look at the quarterback play over the last few years and the teams who've won. Those guys on big stages in big games have almost always played really well and made key plays when they needed to make them.
Chris, physically, how do the Aggies look to you this year? You go visit, I think you said Michigan earlier, you go visit these big programs that have done it for a long time. How does A&M compare from a visual standpoint?
Yeah, really good. I go back to, and I'm going to lean on you here. I go back to watching some of their practice. and just seeing some guys that maybe weren't household names last year. Let's say on defense, number 10 and number 0. And I don't have their roster in front of me. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Watching those kids play and watching them practice, the makeup of their body, and then talking to Mike about guys that were maybe true sophomores or guys who had not played as much and made big jumps. Guys like that, because that's where, you know when a team is sort of on the move or a team that's got a chance when you see guys like that develop. And those are just 2 examples. And they make a jump from maybe one year where they were just sort of role players that didn't play a lot to the next year. And I think up front, even the offensive line, they look like what you'd expect a playoff type offensive line to look like. And in the defensive line too. So I think the strength of their team, honestly, is probably the secondary. With some of the guys you bring back, some of the guys they added there, I think they've got some different options, some flexibility back there. Mike is one of the few. I was counting this up. I think maybe 3 or 4 coaches, period, now call their own plays on defense. Venables does. I think Pete Golding's going to at Ole Miss. And then Mike. I think maybe those 3. I may be forgetting about one. But, in talking to him about his defense, he kept talking about the secondary and the options that gives them the flexibility to do different things. And people talk about pass rush and getting to the quarterback. Well, when you got guys on the back end who can cover and who can tackle, that helps your pass rush as much as anything.
Talking to Chris Lowe here on TexAgs Live. Another thing is the NFL draft's coming up, and there could be, 8, 9, 10 guys drafted from A&M this past year. That's kind of the blueprint that Coach Elko laid out a couple years ago when he got to A&M, for A&M to be a consistent NFL draft program. And I think some of that is not only the guys that they're getting in the portal that makes sense, but their development of players when they get on campus, Chris.
Yeah, I think their 13 guys they sent to the combine was more than anybody in the country. And Mike pointed it out, to your point, pointed that out to me, is that's sort of what we want to be year in, year out. Because typically the best gauge of if you're getting the right players, developing the right players, are those guys that are going to the combine and being drafted, because those are kids that the NFL think are professional caliber players. And I think that's the goal, continue to go forward, because it really becomes now with the portal, not just evaluating out of high school, but you're evaluating kids now in the portal who have played against other college players. They have a track record. You can watch tape of how this safety played against ACC competition or Big Ten competition, how a running back fared, what's his vision like, what's his balance like against, other collegiate competition. And then does he fit what you want? Will he fit in your locker room? Does he fit your culture? And I think evaluating those guys, and once you get them on campus, especially if they have more than 1 year, and some of these guys do, being able to continue to develop them. And that's where, not only talking to Mike, but talking to other coaches during my travels, that's where I think it's changed as much as any, is you can't swing and miss on a lot of these guys. If you bring a guy in, coaches call it dead money, and you're paying a guy $1 million or, a left tackle, $1.5 million or whatever, and he's just not any good, or he can't play, then it's dead money. They're on the bench. So having these, what I call NFL style personnel departments, where so many of these guys now are their job is to look in the portal and to see guys, hey, these are guys that might become available, and to be ready, when guys jump in the portal. And let's be honest, so much of this work is done even before guys officially get in the portal. You have agents talk, and you hear people around the industry. You have a feel for who's looking around, who's going to get in the portal, and to be ready to sort of make that evaluation. And I really believe that if you are going to win in today's game, more than ever, and Indiana's a great example of this, you better have guys on your staff that you believe in your evals, and you trust in them. And I think that's that's got to be that's got to be right there at the top of the list. And then you got to develop them once you get them. And I know Mike feels good about their operation and how they've gone about doing that. I like Mike's approach. He's a CEO, but he's also a ball coach. There's really anything that doesn't touch his program that he's not involved in some way, shape, or form. And he's a smart guy. I know you guys have talked to him a lot and been around him. He's a guy that has coached at different levels, so I think he relates well to different types of players. And I think that's important, especially now with you bringing in guys that you don't necessarily spend a year recruiting in the high school ranks. That you get them on campus, they come in June, and in 2 months you're playing football. And I think being able to relate and connect to different types of guys is important, and Mike's been really good at that.
Chris, has A&M changed their perception of being this almost program? I mean, look, almost as in a playoff contending program every year. They still got to get to much more than they've done. Or do you think like back-to-back kind of years of playoffs is what it's going to finally take?
Yeah, and that's the goal. I mean, listen, Mike, he knows what the perception there is, that A&M has probably been in a group of teams that are viewed around college football as having underachieved for a long time now. When you look at the resources, the tradition, the incredible fan base and interest in that program, the facilities, the fact that you recruit there in the state of Texas, everything's there for A&M to win championships. They just haven't done it. Haven't won a conference title in almost 30 years. Is that right? Something like that. And 98. So, yeah, I mean, I think Mike's tired of talking about it. He's tired. Listen, we got to do it. And a big step in his second year was getting to the playoff, just simply getting there. And they did that. They didn't play their best game in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think that's the next hurdle, is doing damage in the playoff. But you got to get there. You got to be swimming in those waters, to catch the big fish. And I think they've proven they can do that. But I know he's as zeroed in on that as anybody. And the players are. The players all know that. When I was there, I talked to guys like Mario Craver and some of the guys there, and they understand sort of what the perception is. And I think there's a certain amount of pride in this group to change that perception and to go and to do it and to be – because think about it. If you're on that team at A&M that goes and wins an SEC title or makes a deep run in the playoff or wins the national championship, you're always going to be known as that group that did it, that was part of that team that broke through and got it done. So that they're very well aware of that on that team, from the coaching staff on down. And I'll tell you something else, and we overlook a lot of times the support staff. I think the biggest hire Mike made is Tommy Moffitt, his strength coach. Tommy understands what a championship program looks like. He won 3 natties with 3 different coaches at LSU. He was part of an SEC championship team at Tennessee in '97. He's been around championship programs. He's headed up those strength programs. And every one of those kids I talked to when I was on campus mentioned him and the strength program and how much better and stronger. And when you do that, certainly you play with more confidence. You play faster. You play more instinctive. He was one of the, I won't say the first guy, but certainly as Mike was looking to build his strength staff, knowing a guy like Moffitt was out there, to get a guy of his caliber, a guy with his experience, was, again, I like his staff. He's got a lot of good guys on his staff. But to me, that was as big an addition on his staff as anybody he brought in.
Chris, last thing for you. I'm going to ask you an Indiana question. So I saw the whole Brian Haynes and Ty Simpson back and forth, the defensive coordinator for Indiana. And when I first saw it, I was like, God, that's so petty But then I started remembering, this is how Indiana, they operate with a chip on their shoulder. We're going to show you who we are. And I just feels like that permeates through the building, and maybe that's why the response. Just some thoughts on how he took what seemed like a compliment from Ty Simpson, and they found some reason to be upset about it.
Well, it starts at the top. I mean, Cignetti's very much a bite-back kind of guy. I mean, that's sort of who he is. And his team played that way, has played that way for 2 years, certainly last year. And you nailed it, man. It permeates the entire building, from his staff, the strength staff there, his players. They took that whole persona on their shoulders last year, because remember the first year, everybody's like, well, this is a flash in the pan. They got the playoff. They didn't win. Good story, good season, adios. Well, they come back last year and they win every game and they win the Natty. So yeah. I know Ty Simpson. I covered him a lot at Alabama. I don't think Ty was trying to diss Indiana. I just think he said something, but I think it's an opportunity for a coach or a player to use that and continue to motivate your guys. See, they still don't believe. You know, we're who we showed we were last year. Coaches are never, and I know you know this, having been around the game, coaches are never shy about taking something that may seem pretty innocuous and turning it into bulletin board material. Kirby Smart does that every single year. Every single year, Georgia's an underdog. Never mind that they've produced more draft picks than anybody. They won back-to-back national titles, back-to-back SEC titles. But coaches across the board are always looking for something they feel like can add a little extra juice inside that locker room. And I think that's what this was. But you know what? Indiana is going to be a model for a lot of teams in a lot of ways. The way they evaluated talent, the way they put that team together, the way they motivated, and the way they, I think, will continue to keep that team motivated, because I think that's the most fascinating storyline of this season. Can they continue to play at the same level they did last year? Because they lost a lot of good players, including the Heisman Trophy winner and a guy who's probably going to be the number one pick in the draft in Mendoza. And their schedule's harder too. That's the thing. I want to see, and I'm not a doubter. I'm a believer based on what Cignetti's done, but I want to see if they can sustain it in a world where more than ever, I don't care if you're Indiana, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Oregon, it's going to be harder than ever to sustain success because it's evened out and guys are going elsewhere. Everyone's paying, and you can't stockpile talent the way those teams at Bama and Georgia did, seemingly from 15 to 23.
Chris, great stuff, man. I appreciate you making some time for us. We'll do it again, okay?
You bet. Take care.
Thank you. Chris Lowe from On3 on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. When we come back, Peacock, we're going to talk about them, a nonprofit organization here in the Bryan College Station area. They provide housing and life skill training for single moms and their families. They have a big golf event coming up, so we'll talk to them about that on the other side. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Your trade-ins always got value, but at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, they're going to take it and give you the real equity behind your vehicle. They're ready to take that equity and put it to work for you. They have pre-owned inventory that moves fast, which means they're always looking for new vehicles. So bring in what you got, let their experienced sales team take a look at it and give you the value that you deserve for your vehicle, and then put that equity to work with a new vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. You might be looking for a car for your kids. You might be just ready to upgrade. You might just want to change what you have. Caldwell Country Chevrolet is going to take care of you. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to talk a little bit about Peacock, a Bryan-based nonprofit on a powerful mission, providing house and life skill training to single mothers and their children in the Brazos Valley. And today we're sitting down with some members of Peacock to talk all about it. Got Matthew Ferguson, the founder, friends with Stephen McGee.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey, we've got Abby Ferguson, the program director. Hello, hello.
Hello.
And Celsa Garcia, the director of community and ministry involvement. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So, Matthew, I want to start off with you. How did it get started? Tell me about the vision and the why.
Well, I'm an adoptive family, so these kids kind of come from a disadvantaged position. So we've got 4 of my kids are adopted, but I didn't grow up in a single mother home, and I just noticed the hardest job in the world. They feel ashamed sometimes about going in front of churches or other people to get that help, but they need the community around them. And that burden just really came down upon me. And at one point, me and one of the pastors at our church got to talk about it and said, hey, what would be your dream when you grew up? And I said this, and he said, that's my same thing. And well, that's the 2 co-founders. And it just kind of blossomed from there. And again, it's one of those apolitical, non-religious. We all know a single mom. We know it's the hardest job in the world. And we're out there to really help them in ways that actually help. Because we don't give a man a fish. We teach them to fish. Because when they leave our program, we want them to be on their own 2 feet, being God's best plan for their life.
Abby, I want to talk about it because there's different ways that people can help support. One of those is coming up very soon, the golf tournament.
Yes, we're super excited. It's our 5th annual golf tournament. I know there's some people out there that love to swing the links, and so we have an opportunity on May 2nd for you to come out and join us and maybe bring a team with you and support this ministry. And there's many different ways. Celsa, maybe you can kind of help me on how they can get involved in that golf tournament.
Yes, thank you. So the golf tournament is a lot of fun. We expect between 80 and 100 golfers to join us at Briarcrest course. And we've got opportunities for sponsorship from companies or invested community members to sponsor at different levels, a gold, a silver, and a bronze level. And we're also looking for a luncheon sponsor. And we're also open for hole and tee box sponsors at $300 for that particular sponsorship. Other than that, if you're a golfer and you have a team, you'd like to come out and see who you can beat, we have prizes for first, second, and third place, longest drive, and closest to the pin. I always like to highlight the fact that a woman actually won the longest drive contest last year.
Of course.
So we had about 12 women golfers join us, and so we really just want to have a day where we can, all have fun and have lunch and get together, knowing that those proceeds are really benefiting the single mom families of the Brazos Valley.
Abby, there's another way people can help out as well. There's the golf tournament. We want everybody to come play, but also you can sponsor a single mother as well.
Yeah, so we, the moms that are in our program, most of them are living with us. So like Matt suggested, they are doing a 2-year program, them and their family, and we're teaching them their life skills. We are working on their finances, their career goals, their emotional healing, their spiritual growth, all the things. But to do that, there needs to be some financial support there as well. So what if you sponsored one of those families for $375 a month? That's going to cover all their utilities and all their program costs, which includes therapy, which includes great training. It's just all the things. So what if you take you, your family, maybe a small group, commit to $375 a month and support that single family?
Because we bring professional career counselors, educational counselors, spiritual counselors for the moms and their families. That's not us. Mm-hmm. We bring in professionals, and they got to be paid their professional fees, and that's kind of what that goes to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. And there's something still going on too. The 2 duplexes, Celso, if you can speak to that, almost done, and we got to raise some capital to help finish it off.
Yeah. No, it's been a wonderful journey up to this point. We're about 75% of the way done on the build out there. I believe we're asking for up to $125,000 to finish what would be 4 units. So it's 2 duplexes with 2 units per side. So we are actively pursuing, whatever resources are going to go into finishing that. It will help us double our impact where we can grow the program. We can double the amount of single mom families that we're helping. And so that is our real big push, and we're hoping that we can accomplish that within the next few months. And we're actively working on the plans to make that happen.
Matthew, when you and I were talking with Stephen McGee on email, we brought up, especially in sports, we hear about single-family homes all the time. Mm-hmm. And there's many athletes that come into this studio that have had to deal with it as well. So this impacts somebody that you know or several people that you know.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely. I mean, there are published cases in which we've had in our own Aggie families. Terry Bussey has said many times that he's from a single mom, but Kevin Durant, whenever he became the MVP, he had an entire ESPN special about the EVP in his life, which is his mom, mm-hmm. right? And then we've got Marshawn, I think it is the Beast. What was it?
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, Lynch. There are several within our Aggie family, outside of our Aggie family, that are all impacted by that. And there's untold another women athletes, non-athletes. We all know a single mom. We all know it's the hardest job in the world. And what they don't need is a handout. They need help to become God's best plan for their life, which is what we do. That's why it's 24 months, right? We assign a trained success coach and an intentional friend for every week of that 24 mm-hmm. months to bring you from where God has you now. What are your assets, abilities, and everything? Let's figure out a plan, and in 24 months, we're going to launch you into the world, and you're not going to need government assistance. You're going to be out there, and your kids are going to learn about how to develop yourself into that person that you need to be, right? Right.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to add to that, like, we understand that one of the primary influences in an athlete's life is community resources. So whether you're a double parent household or a single parent household, the importance of the Boys Club, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, those organizations, those national organizations, obviously, to have access to coaching and mentorship. But single mother children that have a natural ability to play sports or be athletic, regardless of the sport, their financial ability to afford programs, things like that, scholarships. When it comes to a local nonprofit such as Peacock, we're really on the ground in direct contact. Your influence in that is going to be reflected immediately in the life of a child. And so I would just like to encourage that thought process of a local community nonprofit that's actually on the ground, with these families and with these children on a day-to-day basis. Your support there, the impact of your support is felt immediately and profoundly. So helping children build that resilience and that work ethic, their single moms are setting a good example for them at home. And then we want to come in and reinforce that by building up the mom to to really make great decisions that are beneficial for her family.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate you. The website to be involved is?
So it's www.peacocklegacy.org, and everything is on there from our programs and
Golf tournament
donation
as well.
and golf tournament.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great. We got to hit a break here. We'll come back. A little Aggie baseball talk with Scott Livingstone. On the other side is TexAgs Live. All right, back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our dear friend Scott Livingstone joining us to talk all things Aggie baseball. Mr. Livingstone, sorry for being a few minutes late. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, you got it. So I was hoping to get some baseball in today, right? Because the way they're playing, I want to get as much as possible. That game's rained out, so I guess just looking back, first sweep at LSU since 1978, man.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting series. I mean, you could LSU, you could tell they're having a down year. Their coach even said so. He messed up constructing their roster. He said as much after, I think, the first game. But yeah, it was fun to watch. And I mean, there's no fear in our lineup. Our players, our pitchers, our hitters, they can go into any environment and play well.
Talking to Scott Livingstone, by the way, you can catch his work on the Ball 5 podcast. Does an amazing job, has a great insight. As you watch Charean Wilson develop, right? Obviously, physically, the first time you see this young man, he could be special. But being a freshman in the SEC takes time. And I think the way Coach Early really took his time with him, but gave him these opportunities, and then he gave him more opportunities. And it seems like he's been up to the challenge each and every time.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with Charean, as most people have. And I kind of think back to when Sorrell didn't start. And then all of a sudden he got in the games and he started taking off his freshman year. But I kind of watched Charean, his growth from at bat to at bat. We know defensively, his arm and all that good stuff. But I watch him at the plate and I see him making adjustments, not swinging at that 2-0 changeup in the dirt, starting to take it, starting to learn, and hitting some backside bombs that I don't even think have landed yet. I mean, crazy power, and to realize that he can do that in any ballpark is just going to create, in his mind, confidence and become a better hitter, better approach, and realize he doesn't have to hit moonshots all the time.
Look, I think when we talk about I don't even know if to call it a turnaround, Scott, because this team was playing excellent baseball. They had 5 losses on the year. This is not a team but there was this uneasy feeling around their losses, the way they lost to UCLA, the first game of the Vanderbilt series. There was these uneasy feelings. And to me, the biggest storyline has been pitching, and it's not even being elite. I mean, Aiden Sims has been pretty elite. Gavin Lyons has been pretty elite. But, it's been, let's do enough, and they've been doing more than enough the last 3 weeks.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, yes, they have improved. They were good already. We knew they were good. Just some things weren't going their way early on. And yeah, our offense can cover up, a lot of mistakes or things that the pitching staff may have been doing, but they've stepped up to the challenge. I mean, they've been challenged by the coaching staff, by the fans. Step it up. Let's go. What's wrong with our pitching? And I even said as much last time on here, my concern was depth in the bullpen. And I think now they're starting to kind of figure out their roles. They're starting to be ready, more prepared mentally when they go in the game, what that situation might dictate, who's going in, when, and just be more prepared for it. Where I think at the beginning, it was kind of like, okay, who's going to do what? And we're kind of waiting for people to mess up. Now the confidence is sky high.
Yeah, and, to go along with that, when you have an offense that's going to give you 8, 9, 10 runs a game, you don't have to be perfect, right? This offense can carry you, but if you are really good on a day that the other pitching staff is really good, and LSU has a really good pitching staff, and so does Texas, and we're going to see another great pitching staff the next 2 weekends, right? As long as you do just enough, this offense eventually will figure it out.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's a situation where I watch this lineup and I'm like, where's the weak spot, right? I look at the other teams, I say maybe UCLA, a Georgia Tech, and a Georgia have maybe the same kind of threats 1 through 9. But the way that Coach Early has constructed this lineup to be, Grahovac and Sorrell are, I think, 28, 22 RBIs, something like that. They're leading in runs batted in. That tells you how good the bottom of the lineup has been. Harrison and Kellner getting on base. So having that type of situation and set up 1 through 9, I mean, golly, as a pitcher, I'm like, okay, let me just hold him down. Because I look back at when Cortez was here. He would go in the middle of the game and shut everybody down for 5 innings and allow the offense to catch up. And, like LSU, they brought in their closer. He struck out like 9 of us, but they just didn't have the bang in the lineup to catch up.
Scott, when you compare this team to some of the teams that we have seen recently, that went to the College World Series, do they remind you of the 22 team, the 24 team? They're their own entity, and I know that. But like, this offense has got some similar vibes.
Yeah, I agree for sure. But it's a situation where there's guys can do damage all the way through the lineup, every one of them. And we've had teams in the past that can do that. But I think it was more traditional. Who's your 4-hole hitter? Okay, he's a banger. Well, now we got Dewar. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, professional hitter, makes the pitcher work. And, Keel hitting 6-hole. You got your speed and your bunter and all that in the 6-hole where you don't have them at that 1-2 slot, even though we had Grahovac leading off. But it's just, I love the way they've built this lineup and this Jay Johnson's word, constructed the lineup to where, man, there's a threat for everybody that steps in the box. And the way that they take the pitches, they take the close ones, it's impressive. I watch the at-bat within the at-bat, and they take the close ones. And I watch the other ones like LSU swing at the close ones that aren't strikes. I mean, it's a great approach. It's fun to watch.
Scott, every week I get on this show the last 3 weeks, and I'm talking about what they've done with Weston Moss. And I know last weekend he was great. The weekend prior, the Texas weekend, he didn't pitch, but we thought he was going to pitch. But I love this idea of, hey, if we have a chance to win the series, we're going to use him early. And if we can use other guys and not use them and still win, we'll use them on Sunday. Like, I just love that approach because I think it's just you're putting your best arms to win the series.
Totally. Because I listened to Coach Early talk, and he goes, hey, Tuesday night, we're out to win the game. We're going to win. So it's a win every game mentality. It's not like, hey, let's get this guy some work. Let's do this. Let's do that. You're still balancing that out, but he's out there to win. And where was Moss most effective was coming out of the bullpen. Fastball, changeups, him mixing those pitches around. To me, as a hitter, I hated those guys that could throw hard, throw a changeup. It was just, I didn't worry about the curveball. It was the changeup. And when you can throw that in the middle of a game, then I think it's just hard for the hitters to adjust. But you start him, it's a little different. But yeah, I love the idea of let's win now. And that could be Saturday. Win the series on a Saturday. Don't wait till Sunday.
Scott, just remind us what you can find on the Ball 5 podcast. I know you had a breakdown of the past weekend. You're looking ahead at Florida. But just a little plug for what you do, because I know you do great analysis.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I interview the players, and I've actually built in my house now a Ball 5 clubhouse. And so I'm doing old school, new school baseball and mixing and matching and telling old stories and showing old artifacts from way back in the day, and just different things like that. So it's a lot of fun. The guys have been real accommodating coming on, and I've really learned how very mature this team is, even the freshmen, because they're not really freshmen anymore. But it's a lot of fun to get to watch them and talk to them and get to know them. And it's just a good time. Have fun.
I appreciate that, Scott, and we'll get you back on the show here real soon, man. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Scott Livingstone, Ball 5 Podcast, does great work. Obviously, an Aggie great. We'll talk a little bit short segment on the other side. We'll finish up some baseball thoughts, some football thoughts before we start the 10 o'clock hour when Andrew Monaco is in studio. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors, an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the 9 CFPs, the CFA and the CPA, all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel really good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. contra. That means darn it. And I can say that on the air, right? Contra? That's fine.
Sure.
You're familiar with that term?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, or no?
No, I have.
You lied.
No.
Anyway, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your that was totally announcer man voice. And your favorites are on their way. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justino.
Today on TexAgs.
Today on TexAgs.
We have a lot rolling out. Okay, I'll stop that. We got a lot of baseball today. I know there's no baseball game with the cancellation of the UTSA game today with the rain, but we got Cade Bickham's Ball 5. We got baseball thoughts from Ryan Broniger. We got B Team today, so we'll have some discussions there. Bronny, Richard Zane. We got softball and men's tennis pressers. And then after the huge weekend of the spring game, a bunch of recruits were in College Station, so we got a lot from Jason Howell with the recruiting track. And then you posted yesterday Julio Humphrey interview with you, David. So a lot on TexAgs today. So this is a reminder: become a premium TexAgs subscriber.
I think something that is growing as one of my favorite parts of the job. It's always been great, but I think Nick can attest to these interviews that we're getting with these athletes. Man, I am loving talking to them. Like, it's just like, do you know why he goes by Julio?
No, I don't.
Okay. Nick does, because he listened to the interview. Were you listening at that point?
Yeah, I was directing it.
Okay. Well, that doesn't mean you were listening. You could have been tapped. You could have been doing like multiple tabs.
That's true.
But if you don't know why he goes by Julio when his name is Julian, right? Julian from, what's the name of that movie? The zoo movie? Anyway. Madagascar, right? If you don't know why, it has nothing to do with Madagascar, why he goes by Julio, obviously. There's a reason for it. You got to go listen to that interview to find out more. When we come back on TexAgs Live, a guy who knows the answer to that, Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, joining us here on the program. Andrew Monaco, voice of the Aggies, with us, buddy. Like we're buddies. I can tell you, right?
Yeah.
I turn off my mic, okay? Like, when I go to the restroom, I don't want to trust that Nick is going to mute, and then the whole streaming situation hears me washing my hands or plucking my eyebrows, whatever I may be doing. Right. So I turn it off, but I don't turn it back on sometimes.
Right.
And it's on me. All right. The culture of TexAgs, it's on me. I've got to fix that. I've got to look in the mirror and look at my mic pack.
It's a leader.
How are you, buddy?
That's a leader right there. Good. This is really how we got started.
Yeah, that's how we got started.
Can we go back to what I said before we came on? Can you put that picture back? I love me some me now.
You want to put you some? Hey, Nick, can you put his picture up?
You don't have to.
I mean,
I see me. I'm good.
He's a handsome man.
See?
Look at that.
Oh, man.
Dude.
Woo.
I'm a fan.
It's a good Tuesday.
Hey, I'm a fan of you as a human and as the voice of the Aggies. You know how I feel about you. How much fun are you having watching Michael Early's success this year based on all the stuff you knew, right? The criticism was warranted, but also was it like your two best players last year were hurt, right? Like, was it completely, for, not Caden all year, but a big portion of the year?
Right. How are they doing now?
They're pretty good.
See, that's the absence, and you don't know the absence until you see it, and that they're at the top of your lineup, right? And they set the tone. Happy for him, happy for the program, and that this is what I say. I know there's no baseball today, so that's one fewer opportunity to watch Gavin play, to watch Caden swing, to watch, you know what I mean? Like you just enjoy all of that because we're not going to see it very low. We're going to see it at another level.
Which means we need to see more of it in the postseason.
Absolutely. We got to make it.
We lose, right?
And that's what you're aiming for. But they set the tone. And when you have that type of talent, and that's just the start. And when you have that type of leadership and humans, because that's the part of it. If you ever talk to Michael, he'll talk about the talent, and then he talks about the type of people that they are, and that resonates and it rubs off on the other players. So yeah, it's really good to see that, and to see a guy like Aiden Sims, who Michael raved about, but it wasn't going to be immediate. There's that period where okay, you have to adjust to not just college baseball, David, to SEC,
right?
And now he is a dependable weekend starter that they still haven't, I'm not sure they've still figured out how to, but you can see that the long lineup, where do you take a breath? And it's led by those two. But then, as Scott Livingstone was saying, the bottom of that lineup is allowing the top of that lineup to drive in all those runs. Yeah, I don't know where you take a breath with that. And it's really good to see the payoff of this year. Don't lose sight of the fact that there is a foundation for this team for years to come.
I want you to take us inside your seat. Okay. You've been in Death Valley for a football game where the place gets real quiet. Okay. You've also been there on a sweep against the reigning national champion.
Also deathly quiet.
Right? What's that like?
Oh, it's awesome.
I mean, from watching on television, or it's like it's the greatest thing ever. But like, also for what you do, like, you have to almost elevate your voice in certain environments. You didn't have to do that.
No, and it's a place that has broken your heart, right? And it's a place where you've seen one of the best teams ever in college football do what they do against you. You've been in there in weekend series where you both have an inkling that, you know what, I have a feeling they're both going to be in Omaha. Not the case this weekend. A&M clearly better, and for me, and what Scott mentioned, I feel the same way with Jay Johnson. It resonates in that you can't miss any longer in the portal. You can't miss when you recruit. David, I think your window for a head coach gets really short. Now, he won a national championship, please, and 2 in the last 3 years. But they missed, and it's not close. And everything that the Aggies do well, LSU doesn't do well. Now, let's rewind a year where we were a little frustrated at the things. The simple things. Scott mentioning, you take the balls and you swing at the strikes. You can be patient, but you can also be aggressive at the plate. Taking the extra base. Like the picture of me in that weekend is twice Bear Harrison on a single, reads it beautifully, first to third. Now all of a sudden that runner on third is coming in, and that's the run. They led practically wire to wire all weekend, so Tiger fans can't get into it. And the pitching with a lead, if you're talking about Aiden Sims, he may have a 3-0 lead, Weston, but they didn't pitch like it was 3-0. I think that's what I was really glad to see. And to me, whether it's been basketball or football or baseball, for me personally, yeah, it's nice to go in there and know that you've got the superior team, and that feeling of they're waiting for the other shoe to drop or what's going to go wrong. It's like, well, guess what? You're going to learn it pretty early in this game that you're going to be on your heels, and I like that the Aggies are now the aggressor.
For the LSU fans that are listening and looking to get angry, this is actually a sign of respect, of how much respect we have for what that football program and baseball program has done, that A&M can have the success that they've had over the last couple of years.
Two great venues, right? And the venues that mean so much to LSU's success. And when you empty out Death Valley and when Alex Box does not get loud, yeah, that says that you're doing something well. Because you know when they do, it's like two very different environments, and it can rattle a certain player when they are there. Look, I know the season that they're having, and they still had 10,000 plus there on Friday and on Saturday. It was Sunday. It was like, well, do we really want to give up a Sunday?
Right.
and watch, or are we going to be disappointed again? Yeah, it's hard to turn it around. Look, they have outstanding arms. They just don't know where it goes.
Right.
But the arms are something special. But we've talked about this before. They're nice pieces, but I'm not sure they fit or the way they're playing. Like I thought it was a glaring example of how well the Aggies played, and they took full advantage of all of LSU's mistakes or the things that they didn't do well. So that was, to me, that's a great sign, especially this time of year, that series there, now when the SEC really starts heating up.
Andrew, I have recently been talking about a theme that I've noticed with this baseball program, and it's going to sound like next year Nuño, but it's actually a combination of right now Nuño and next year Nuño. The youth movement, like you've got some freshmen dudes that like, and it's just like the same vibes I got with Jace a few years ago. And then when Caden and Gavin came in, right? And like, now you look at Caden and Gavin as like the veteran leaders that are unstoppable. Like I'm seeing similar visions with these guys.
It's not a next year thing. I think it talk about roster construction and how you do it. So if you came into this season and said, you know what, we're going to put two freshmen on the left side of the infield, I don't even think about it now. Like I have to step back going, they don't even look like freshmen. They don't play like freshmen. There's a maturity, and they've played so much. And then, you know what? The right fielder didn't play a lot of baseball. Let's see what he does in the SEC. And meanwhile, the ESPN crew was raving about there's a ball in the gap, and he fields it with his bare hand, and he throws. And I love what Kyle Peterson said, because he can, right? But there was a play that was made on that weekend. If you remember, there were a couple of throws by Charean that kind of went to nowhere, right? But there was a play. It was a simple single to right, runner at first, goes first to third, runner at first, and he threw a seed to second. And it reminded me of a story a couple years ago that Jace Laviolette tried to get a runner, and he allowed an extra base. And he was told by the coach at that time not to do it. And Jace never did it again, right? He always threw to the correct base. If you start seeing, to me, Charean's a sponge, right? A highly talented Ryan Howard type player.
There you go.
Who is a sponge. But Michael, very quick to say, better person than talent. And he thinks the talent is off the charts. And again, back to how this team is, when you're surrounded by it, it's one thing. But he's also one of those people that is allowing to be that. So, no, you're not wrong. Now think about all the arms that we saw a Tuesday ago. Billings coming back, right? Hunter Vincent getting some innings. I know Hunter Bond's not a freshman, but he hadn't pitched. He's been in JUCO. When you have those pieces, now this year you go out and you, unlike LSU, right? You go out and Hakopian fills a need and Jake Dewar fills a need, and now it all comes together. It's why that lineup is long. When you can do that, when you have to replace 4, 5, or 6, now you're in trouble, right? You may not hit on all of them. If you're picking and choosing, or you have someone waiting in the wings. Like next year, I can't wait to talk about so-and-so who was just waiting. It's like, oh, where have they been? Here's their opportunity. They've been prepared for that. Yeah, to me, it's very exciting. It's not a next year. If you were 11-30, yeah, you could be saying, oh, in next year. But then again, if you were 11-30, those players wouldn't be very good, right?
Right.
But when you're number 7 in the country and you're doing it with these freshmen and they're the building blocks going forward, ooh, that's a whole lot of excitement.
Look, I shouldn't ask you about the Texas series because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you about the Texas series because I call the shots sometimes,
I'm glad
right?
to talk about it.
Well, I mean, just from your perspective, just that environment and like, just this program needed it. This university needed that weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the Super Bowl. I just think it was a statement. Here we are, guys.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. I think it was as highly anticipated as it was, and the atmosphere being super regional-like. And I don't like saying that because I don't like too much hyperbole, but it was. There was an energy and an excitement throughout there. And this is the 12th man was waiting a couple of years for this weekend, right? They were doing it, but you saw the play on the field. Just like the Aggies eliminated them in the regional and just like the Aggies eliminated them in Omaha, A&M was the better team in those two games. And I get last year there were 3 one-run games at Austin. Totally get it. There's that compete. But this year, and I wonder if it's also like winning on Sunday the way they did, run-ruling Georgia, is that one of those moments? And will the weekend against Texas be one of those moments where you just realize, oh, wait a second, this is how good we are. And they won that series not by bashing. They just played cleaner. Like Michael says this all the time. You'll be competitive with consistency. And you're seeing consistent hitting, you're seeing consistent fielding, you're seeing consistent base running. And that, to me, was at the forefront. They were the better team both Friday night and Saturday, winning kind of 2 different ways in those 2 games against Texas. And in that atmosphere, you can get sped up, right? This is really big, especially for some of the young guys. Heck yeah, It looked like they played in that rivalry forever, right? They really did. And to me, I always talk about identity. They played to their identity where Texas came in, and I think we took them out of that identity. We matched every run. Like, to me, that's a big thing, and I learned that a long time ago in baseball. The get-back run, the get-back inning, and the shutdown inning. Every team uses a different lingo for that. But if you watch in the course of these winning ways and this winning streak, they are answering another team's run-scoring inning with at least one of their own, if not more, putting up that crooked number. And they're starting to get that shutdown inning. But let's say it's not. Let's say they keep answering. And that, I think, is a big point. That was Friday against Texas. They kept doing that. And then I thought there are a couple big Nico's 2-run single to give you the lead before the rain came.
Right.
And then Bear with 2 outs. And then Michael said, you know what the key was? Boston Kellner's walk. He's behind in the count, gets the walk. That leads to Grahovac's triple. That clears the bases. Those types of things are happening. When you look in, you can see everybody doing something to contribute to the win. But that weekend, it was circled, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it lived up to all the expectations.
So the conversation was early on, can this team make the postseason?
Right.
Then it was like, can they maybe even get up to a 2 seed? Now the conversation is, can they be a national seed and host? And I still think all that and maybe even first place in the SEC is in play. And the way this team is playing, I'm not going to doubt them at all. But the schedule is what the schedule is.
Correct.
And you're going to have and that's the one thing that Michael Early does not shy away from. He's like, look, we're going to have to bring it again, and again, and again.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And back-to-back weekends on the road against Florida. And if you look at how the SEC has been throughout the season, I don't know if you could say Team A is going to go in and win the series against TB. We've seen more sweeps than we've ever seen, which is really odd in the SEC. Florida goes into Arkansas and sweeps Arkansas. And then all of a sudden, was it 26-14 on Sunday? Two head coaches who are known for pitching and 40 runs are scored, right? Well, they do call it Sunday Run Day, right? You have that. I think it's the team that plays to its identity, and it's the more complete team. And the more he says it, the more I agree with it. It's that consistency. Does it mean you're going to win? Not always, but it gives you the best chance to win. You're going to face some arms now from here on out. But when don't you face any arms in the SEC?
They're going to face some bats.
Yes, they are. And to me, it was like, Weston doesn't pitch against Texas. And I heard what you and Scott were saying, and I loved it. Okay, if you can grab a win, then you use Weston and grab the win on a Friday or Saturday. But he doesn't pitch on Sunday because we don't play that game. And there was a thought of pitching him on Tuesday, right? But that doesn't. But he's working with this team. So if Weston Moss can regain it against this lineup on a Wednesday, then you know he's got a really good chance against LSU. If this weren't a good lineup, then it's almost like fool's gold, right? But if you can get sharper and work on your stuff against this lineup, then you can have confidence when you're taking the mound when there's someone in another color besides maroon facing you.
Speaking of sharper, Shane Sadeo. I mean,
thought so?
Yeah. not only is he sharper, but like this is like a duh moment. Like the guy's coming back from not playing in over a year, right? And he doesn't have to be Cy Young. He just needs to be really good.
Yeah, and I think we get spoiled by Weston's and Shane's that just competitiveness that they have, right? Like when Weston comes off the mound and he's celebrating, that's a great sign to me. It's the same thing with Shane, right? You have that. But there's that confidence, and I think they're gaining that confidence. And you know what? Back to something Scott said that I'll reiterate. I think now that you know on that back end or that bridge, if you will, to Clayton Freshcorn, I think the roles are a little more, understanding them a little bit more. Like, we hate not having Caden McCoy. Totally understand it. But we don't. I hate losing Josh. But we don't have him. So you can either say, okay, then what am I going to do now in this new role? And you're seeing it. Lyon stepping up that's a revelation. You know what I mean? More fastballs than he's ever thrown. And if you watch closely enough, they're not throwing the same pitches. They have the pitches, but I love that they're mixing them up. Even Aiden on Saturday throwing different pitches the second and third times through a lineup. But Lyon's throwing more fastballs now. And Weston has success at the fastball. His control leads to the changeup, which he throws at any time, any count, any batter. It doesn't matter when you have that. But you see them changing up almost, I don't want to say pitching against a scouting report, but if you're going up there, if you think about it, Gavin came in against Chris Stanfield and threw him 3 fastballs. I don't think Stanfield was ever looking for one, and yet he came back and he threw strikes. Strike. Now, you're not throwing any longer, you're pitching, and you're seeing that pitching talent start coming out.
Let's do a spring football segment.
Let's do it.
You'll stay here?
Yes, sir.
All right, just making sure. Ground shuttle time. They offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. If you've been there, you know how the traffic situation is. It's a mess to find parking. Sometimes you can't even get parking. It's a mess just dealing with the Houston traffic. So let them do the driving for you. They're fantastic. They depart right next to Casa de Brazil in South College Station. You get dropped off at your office. You can utilize your convenient and secured parking. And they got shuttle times 9 times a day on the weekdays, every hour and a half, and 5 shuttle times on the weekends, every 2.5 hours. So it's great for business and travelers or even college kids that are trying to get back home for a weekend or for the summer. Let Ground Shuttle do the driving for you. You can check it out at groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com, or call them up 855-303-4415. It's Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Andrew Monaco still with us. Okay, I'm going to start off with the worst but the most obvious topic, the injury to Damian Sanford, right? And nobody knows what the prognosis is, and we're not playing WebMD here on the show. But, you know, like some people are like, oh, I know, he's out for 5 years, right? Like maybe he's out for 5 days. I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't look good.
Right.
Remove that from the conversation. I don't know if it's right away, but I do like those linebackers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I love Noah McHale. I love what I've read about Coney and what I've seen on tape, right? I want to see how it translates to the SEC. But Jordan Lockhart, he's been waiting for his moment. He looks big and strong.
Right.
So, like, it's not an ideal situation by any stretch, losing one of your top defenders, if not your best.
Yeah.
But these guys are going to have to step up regardless.
Would you rather have it September 4th or April?
And my choice, never or now?
Never, yeah, correct.
But now.
But it's, again, like that is when anything can happen. So it is that next man up. That sounds so cliche to fans, right? But that's exactly the case.
That's what happened for Sanford.
It's exactly what happened at Notre Dame. Yeah. You didn't think Scooby was going to go down after that interception, but he did. And guess what? The legend of Damian Sanford grew, right? Because he was ready for that moment. You don't wait for your time to play. You prepare. And Damian had prepared. Now I'm going to rewind you a month. He was not in that position a month before that in training camp. And if he doesn't have the conversation with Mike Elko to say, why am I not playing? He's never in that position because they wouldn't have turned to him. It was all on him. So I look at Noah McHale the same way I was looking at Marco Jones. Hey, Marco, good player. Oh, every once in a while you see him on that defensive line. Every once in a while you see Noah McHale. Then what was happening at the end of the year? Right. Oh, then a lot more, right? A lot more snaps. And now they become part of your building blocks. Yeah, I'm with you. You hate it. You absolutely hate it that it happens, especially this. And again, that's where sports is unfair, right? Doesn't matter how much work that, he did so much work. It's not sports gods don't.
Right.
But it illustrates, okay, here we go. And by time we get to the fall, David, we're going to see that with a number of, not injury-wise, but a number of players like, oh, why is he starting? Or, oh, I didn't realize he'd be in the first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's because of what they were doing leading up to spring and in the spring game. And then, as I've told you time and again, this becomes the most important time. What do they do from here until they have to report?
Right.
It's going to be on them. But there is that excitement. And I love this time of year because in just a number of days, we're going to see a lot of A&M players being called to go to the NFL. And now we've got in our mind, okay, who replaces them?
Yes.
And you like that you have the talent that can replace NFL talent. That if we were talking about that in baseball, it's exactly what Mike Elko's doing in football.
Well, with baseball, we're talking about you got to hit on these portal guys.
Mm-hmm.
In Mike Elko's tenure at A&M, he's hit on his transfer guys. Look at Cassius Howell, right? Look at Armage.
Yeah.
Look at KC. There's a host of others. And this year, it feels like he hit again because Isaiah Horton is the truth, man. He is like...
changes everything.
He changes it all.
It changes everything. Having that go-to, right? That game changer can be a game changer. And you forget, oh yeah, there's that kid Craver as well. That's what's exciting. And again, you can't miss too often. You
gonna miss
never know
sometimes,
what
yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
But I like that you're also filling a need, and you're honest about the need, and you go out and you get that. So what becomes, and then also when players come to Texas A&M or wherever they go, what makes it attractive? And that's a number of things. And I like that. You know what? Here's the checklist of being an Aggie. Boom, 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 boom. You don't check them all. We said before we sat down, there's another place for you to play, not here. And these guys are checking that box. To your point, not just talented, but good humans, right? That's, again, good human doesn't lead to directly into, I don't know how you quantify it, but I guarantee you'll win more games than you lose when you have players like that, because then cancers don't spread, and it drums the bad. But if you don't even bring the bad guys in, then you've got a chance, and you work harder and together, and you see that joy for one another, and not that person off to the side going, why didn't I get another catch, or you didn't target me, things like that. Yeah, and that's what you've kind of seen, is that joy for one another through any position group, or you talk to a position player and they quickly talk about somebody else, whether it's on the line, something like that. I love that, and that's an awful lot of togetherness, and I think it's an ingredient to winning in that recipe. If that ingredient's missing, I don't think you win as often.
Andrew, this week I think I've talked more positively about kicking than I have in many years, because last year was such a disappointment from the kicking game standpoint. And I'm sorry, going 5 for 5 from the Maroon and White game doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great in the SEC next year, but I've got some optimism. I wanted them to fix an issue that was an issue, and it looks like we're on that track.
Yeah, isn't it a shame we didn't think it was going to be an issue, right? But it was, and it's an old Jimbo Fisher line. It's not a problem till it's a problem, right? And you have that. So what do? You better fix the problem, and that's exactly what happened. And I remember Mike was saying, "Look, we're not going to have this. We're not going to have this issue going forward." And son of a gun, not just one, David, right?
Yeah.
Now it's 2, and you have to have depth. And what fans need to understand is you're going to bring in talented people, and there are going to be talented people who are going to leave, because you're going to compete every time to earn that spot to kick the game-winning field goal. Right. You know what I mean? Or to be the long snapper, or who's going to get the first carry. If you don't have that in your DNA, once again, other places to play, it's not going to be here. But Mike Elko is also very good at addressing, what do we need? Let's go out and get that person. Again, that's not always easy. It's the same way as a player looking in the mirror. Okay, what do I have to work on? A lot of times you look in the mirror going, hey, I like what I...
Right.
I just think this is a group that isn't okay with just being okay, right? It'll work itself out. No, you're never going to hear things like that from the team, from that front office, or from the coaches.
I'm going to ask you an unfair question to close out.
Sure,
okay?
sure.
And you can answer it like Billy would. Just give me multiple answers. What do you think is the most proven room, or the best room at A&M football-wise? Because I think obviously wide receiver comes to mind.
Yeah.
DBs are deep and good. So there's many different areas you can go.
Proven's a funny word though, right? Right. Because it's proven mean everybody would be coming back. So if I have to say one thing, like room, it's a little different because we don't know, but QB1 is proven. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think he is the finished product, because Marcel is never satisfied. Right. It's constantly getting better. That receiver room is really good. Again, from some people who got some snaps.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of game changers. And again, I think it's the combination of not just, catch radius, strong hand. Can they block? Mm-hmm. There's also that unselfishness. That's the exciting part. Am I going to go back to something that you and I always talk about? Only works if the offensive line works, right? Yeah. And there's going to be time for them. This is a great start for them. And you get to see. And again, you addressed and you brought in some guys who not only know offensive line play, know what it takes to play in the SEC and succeed in the SEC. So, yeah, if I had to pick one, I think it's QB1 is the most proven. But like I said, I still don't think he's a finished product. I don't think Marcel's ever satisfied. I think it's constantly wanting to get better.
Remember 21, a couple of freshmen on that offensive line that some of them had to play earlier than expected. Yeah. And then Reuben Fothery came along. Mm-hmm. And I think this year's group, not that comparing them per se like that, but you've got some youngsters that, if they were guaranteed to be your guys this year, I'd be a little uneasy because of the experience. They don't have to be the guy day one. They can be the guy day 3. You have a couple of good dudes on there, that young players that could play right away, and you also have transfers that have SEC experience.
I think they're actually deeper than they were. And as we say that, like that offensive line, basically you went 7, right? It wasn't a starting 5, right? You had the others, but I think because of that you just talked about, having that experience, and I hate saying waiting in the wings because it's like you're just sitting there on the sideline saying, okay, go in. But I think because of that, yeah, I think it is deeper, and just in case something happens, then you're not saying, oh, where do we go from here? No, we know exactly where we're going next. Yeah, that's exciting. And again, that's all part of that roster construction, roster development. You have to have not just depth, you have to have talent to go with that depth at each position.
You're the best, my friend. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Andrew Monaco here on TexAgs Live. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back, talk to the film guy, Brooks Austin, next on TexAgs. The film guy here on TexAgs Live, Brooks Austin on the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline, good friend of the show, good friend of mine. We were going back and forth on text yesterday. Thought I had to get him on. And also, let's sign up for his YouTube page because he's almost at 100K. What's up, Brooks?
Man, I feel like I've been almost at 100K for a minute. I think the good Lord and the YouTube gods are teaching me patience. You know, that's a good thing to have. I don't have it. It's why I like fishing this time of year, because it's the only thing that makes me be patient. You ain't gonna be a good fisherman, especially down here in the South when it starts getting warm. Can't be a good fisherman and be impatient. You just ain't gonna catch nothing. So I got things in my life that teach me patience. That quest to 100K and that quest to a PB on the bass fishing teach me patience. But how you doing, Nuño?
I'm great, man. And fortunately, I got to see you a couple of weeks back. I guess it's been a couple of months now at the combine. But we were going back and forth yesterday because, tell me if I'm saying this correctly. I think you came away more impressed with how A&M looks physically and the kind of dudes that they have than maybe you were expecting, because you knew they were going to be good, but like, did something change in what you saw? Like, I think the way you phrased it on your podcast was like, you don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be a good football team.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been watching a lot of spring football lately, if that's what we want to call it. Some places aren't playing football, though. And I'm going to make really entrenched takes this offseason about teams that I saw play physical brands of football in the spring, because I think it matters. I was on Feinbaum yesterday, and I came to the realization, like, all these games are one-score games late. Like, even that playoff game you guys lost, like, that thing was down to the wire. That thing was last second. Every play mattered. Every inch on the field that was gained mattered. And physicality mattered, and tackling mattered, and blocking mattered, and, like, the fundamentals of football mattered. I watched Indiana win a national championship off fundamentals. They don't do a lot of fancy stuff, guys. They don't. In fact, they went viral this week because they don't, right? Ty Simpson talking about this. They were really simplistic, and they lined up and kind of just played ball, but they played ball better than us, and they just physically beat us and fundamentally beat us. And then I turn on that spring tape from A&M, and man, I mean, off rip, first play, the damn transfer from Colorado is running downhill like it's the Super Bowl. He shot out of a cannon and sticks his face mask off the thigh board of the running back, and it's like fundamental physical tackle right off rip. And that's the transfer. That's the kid who just showed up. That kid got 14 practices to see, like, what the quote-unquote standard is, what the culture is. The culture is striking. The culture is physical. The culture is football. That stuff wins. I believe that stuff wins. But I'm like a hard-nosed, like, football guy, like truth, old school football guy. But I do think that stuff wins now. And like look at Miami that went on their run. There's a line of scrimmage football team, guys. Indiana, line of scrimmage football team. Say what you want about their weaponry and Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. They built it off of fundamentals and playing the game, not tagging off in spring games. And I know sometimes we get hurt playing football, and that sucks, and it does. But that's the reality of this business. It's physical. It hurts sometimes.
Well, Brooks, I think people who obviously the injury to Damian Sanford, people are like, well, do we get rid of spring games? No, because they're going to have that scrimmage anyway, right? You're going to scrimmage.
Yeah.
Football's a violent sport. Nobody wants these injuries to happen, but to be ready in the season, this is kind of the road you have to take.
Man, I love Dan Campbell, right? An Aggie, right? I loved his HBO Hard Knocks soundbite. You can go look it up. He's talking to his guys during preseason camp, and he's almost breaking down because he's like upset because they're not realizing that he's not just being a butthole. He's trying to callous their bodies. He's trying to physically prepare them for the wars at bay. Like that is what about to happen. And guys, we play 16-game seasons now. Like if you're gonna do what you want to do, if you're going to reach where you want to go, we have to play January 25th. We have to play August 31st to January 25th. We got to be ready. We got to be ready to go to war. All right, and I think that stuff, like, we have to callous our bodies. And I when I think of that, I think of that Dan Campbell sentiment. He's telling his players, he's like, guys, please trust me. Please, will you believe me that I've done the research, I've done the science. I know that we have to physically prepare our bodies for what it is that we are about to go do. And most coaches will just tell you that the only way to get better at football is to play football. And football ain't football if we're not tackling, in my opinion. And so we have to do these things, even though that sometimes it exposes ourselves to danger, right? And football is dangerous sometimes.
Brooks, if I'm a head coach, and I'm not even close to being qualified, but I want guys that want to play football, right? They want to play it on Tuesday, want to play it on Wednesday. They want to go tackle. You have to peel them away from the field. That's the kind of culture and locker room I have that I want to have if I have a team. Let's talk about some individual guys, because I know you came away very impressed. Noah McHale, what did you think about the young linebacker?
Yeah, first of all, that dude thumps, right? Like we talk about having, like, when you're a linebacker, when I watch your tape, you ought to arrive at contact. You know what I mean? Like when you hit somebody, you ought to feel the pads. And with Noah, that's exactly what happens. I sent you a clip, Nuño, of, it's an RPO. The ball gets spit out to Isaiah Horton, and he does some magic stuff that he's going to do for you guys this year. And if you look in the box, number 0 is just absolutely running through the face of number 9. And the tight end, number 9, guys, like if you look at him, he's 6'6", 275 pounds. Like he ain't no walk-on. He ain't no little guy. And Noah walks through him like he's water. And then I saw another clip. It's really hard to tell on TV copy, but what you can see is when a running back is running full speed at the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden it looks like he hits a wall, that wall being Noah McHale, like you can see that. You don't see how it happens because we got a goofy angle from the press box. If I saw the all-22, I could show you what he actually did. But you can see the arrival in his contact, right? He is very physical and strong at the contact point as a tackler, and that is needed in the box in the SEC. The pick 6 was all instincts, okay? He's doing a great job of floating and watching the quarterback's eyes, and most importantly, driving once he sees the ball coming out of the hands of the quarterback, and then a great job of not body catching that, man. He caught that with his hands away from his body, and then the athleticism to get home. He did get exposed a little bit. Brady Hart, your quarterback, got blitzed up a little bit. They had speed, meaning like a speedy wide receiver at the number 3 spot in a trips formation, ran across the field, and that linebacker, Noah, had to turn and run with him. And we kind of saw, like, I'm not going to say Noah's a 4.48 blazer, okay? So that might be a slight limitation in his game. He might be like a 4.65 athlete right now, 4.62 athlete. To be that turn and run hole player, as we call him, we got to be able to go in this league. So that might be a problem. But, man, thunderous football player at contact point. And I love that.
Brooks, another guy that I know you came away very impressed is DJ Hicks on the defensive line. Yeah, I think you called him a man. He looked like a dude.
Yeah, so, it's year 3, Nuño, with him? 4? Is that correct?
Is it 3 or 4? I think it's 4.
I think it's year 3.
Okay.
A former 5-star, right? Like really highly touted football player coming in like a dude. Was supposed to be a dude, and it has been a dude. Has played really, really good football. But when I watched him last year, it looked to me like we were like, I don't know, maybe 310-ish. Like we're big, thick. Like now I look at him, and there's a play we showed on the film breakdown today. He goes from the left side of the offensive line to the right side of the offensive line, from A gap to backside B gap in like 2 steps, just explosive, twitchy. And when he gets over there, his hands are so violent. He smacks the hell up out of the left guard so bad it just kind of knocks him off. And then Marcel has to flush the pocket. And then at 3, I bet he's 298, 302 right now. He's not heavy. He's twitchy now. DJ just runs him down, stride for stride, runs him out of bounds. And I saw that and was like, okay, that's a different level of. I told Jonathan, our producer, he was a fringe 45 guy for me if I had to sit down and do next year's NFL draft right now. That one clip, top 25 immediately, the twitchy athleticism at that size. We just don't have them. They don't roll. There's not an assembly line of those humans. So, yeah, that's a freak, man. That's a scary looking one.
Brooks, I want to talk about Marcel. I know you and Billy had a back and forth. It was fun. You guys are buds about Marcel or Arch. And I was going to bring up a different perspective of this. I don't need Marcel to be ranked higher than Arch to feel good about Marcel. because I think when Marcel is on, there was a reason he was a Heisman candidate until he wasn't, right, through November, part of November. If Marcel lifts his floor, then I think A&M can do what they did last year once again. If he could just lift his floor. His A game has been dynamic. I would like more of it, right? I don't want just one half against South Carolina. I want a full game. But I feel like when Marcel is on, and it needs to be more consistent, as long as he raises that floor, A&M can reach the places that we haven't reached here since 1939.
I love that they have made the offense, they're not changing much. It felt the same. You know what I mean? Losing Colin Klein, in-house promotion. I think it was the wide receivers coach, goes from wide receiver to OC. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Shaq.
Holman Wiggins.
But I think that was the transition, and it looks very, very similar to me. Here is I think I've spoken about this with you, Nuño, maybe even with your people, but they didn't have an X last year. They didn't have a guy that was just out there. They had two dynamic slot weapons, and that's great, but it doesn't simplify coverage for us. When we have a guy like Isaiah Horton that is outside the numbers that we can just look at and go, oh, they're going to dare to play man-to-man over there? All right, well, all this over here doesn't matter. We're playing one-on-one ball now, and I just have to throw him a catchable football, and we're going to win there. Right? That makes math so simple. We're coming to the line of scrimmage, and we've given him one-on-one opportunities. We've gotten explosives. Now they're rotating safety coverage. Let's run the ball. All right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just simplifies everything. When all of our weaponry is in and around the box, those boxes are tight. Those decisions are quick. The guy, like, we miss defenders. Guys leak out underneath us, and we hit them in the face mask, and now all of a sudden the ball's going back the other way. I just explained both turnovers in the LSU game, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, when we're crowded inside the hashes because all of our weaponry is at tight end and slot receiver, those decisions and windows get way, way tighter, as opposed to, again, that guy's in one-on-one coverage. I'm going there. And I also think you guys aren't a pro-style offense when I watch you anymore. In fact, I think you're more like, and it's not a gimmicky thing, I think you're almost like wide choice. Like you're like 12 personnel attached with two tight ends and then two wide receivers outside the numbers, daring people to either make a decision, play man-to-man coverage out there and stop the run, or shade coverage to the wide receivers and dare to let them run the football, which, by the way, that's going to work really, really well this year at A&M because you've always going to be able to run the football, especially with a quarterback like Marcel. Like, there's a massive explosive run on Saturday where three defenders just levitate towards Marcel, just the idea that he might keep the football. And, guys, he's in a non-contact jersey. You know what I mean? So, like, you're going to be able to run the ball. And now I think you're going to be able to be explosive outside the numbers. That changes offense for you guys.
All right, I got to ask you this before we go. So I see Johnny in the background. I love when I see Johnny on your set. But somebody on the YouTube page asked if you wore that Appalachian State jacket on purpose.
No, man. You send it, I wear it. Them's the rules around here. If you send it to the studio, I'll put it on. But no, man, I got all kinds of stuff. Like the other day I was rocking ECU. I got some ODU stuff. I got some bigger schools that I don't wear because I don't want coaches being like, oh, I can't talk to him. He's got friends over there. We played them in 2 weeks. These coaches are weird, man. Yeah. They all think they got they got to walk around with like special secret agents to keep the information tight. It's weird.
I'll send you a TexAgs hoodie soon. All right.
Say less. We'll rock it.
All right, man. Take care, Brooks. Brooks Austin there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. I know his A&M video either hit at 9:30 or is about to hit, so go check it out. He'll have more of what we just talked about. Let's talk about Guarantee Bank and Trust, established over a century ago. They take care of Texans. They take care of people in this community because they love being your community bank. They are your Aggieland community bank. They've got 3 great locations across the Bryan College Station area, and when you go to one of them, you might run into Brandon Sears, a Texas A&M alum, but his whole team there. Jared is there. Great people, the marketing side, Tony and Sarah do wonderful work. Wherever you are in Texas, just know that Guarantee Bank and Trust is going to make local decisions with the people that you know and that you trust. When you go into one of their branches, you're going to feel like, hey, these are my buddies. These are the people I see around town. That's what they do. They are your community bank, and they're committed to helping you grow alongside other Texas hometowns. They support financial education, home ownership, local business, nonprofit efforts right here in this very own community. Check out one of their 33 great locations all across Texas and go check out the website, gnty.com. That is gnty.com. It is Guaranty Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. We're back here on TexAgs Live. Always Aggies on the YouTube chat said he just came for Brooks. I mean, what about Andrew Monaco? What about Scott Livingstone? What are we, chopped liver?
The go hour?
You're always Aggies? Sounds like you're only part-time Aggies. Change your name to part-time Aggies. Anyway, I'm just playing with you. Thank you for watching the show. If we got you to watch because of Brooks, that's great for us. If you hate us, it happens. What do you have for us, Justin?
I have some news in the basketball world. Obviously, the transfer portal closes today. And as of yesterday, Marcus Hill has entered the transfer portal. He was a big part of the Texas A&M Aggies run this past season, but he is still looking for an eligibility waiver, so that's still out there. And it seems that there's still interest to return if he is granted that waiver. But what are your thoughts?
I will hold my opinions based on it. I just want to say this. I like Marcus Hill a lot. I hope he comes back. I do. Right. What I hate about the portal is mostly about basketball. And I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page as me. Anything that helps A&M, I love. Anything that doesn't, I don't like, right? So, look, on this show, I'm allowed to be a little selfish. I'm not doing it at CNN. Well, thank God. I'm not doing it at ESPN, right? Like, I'm just doing it here at TexAgs. But I just want people to be Aggies. You know what I'm saying? Like, like if you say you love us, then be us forever. That's just what I'm saying. So, but I understand it's a different world that we are operating in. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Tuesday. Mañana on the show, John Harris, Kendall Rogers, and Pablo Picasso. All that and more. We'll see you then.